Success of the album. Next thing I know, at the Kwesi Center, I'm still at the Kwesi Center because I didn't see myself say, well, this is the beginning of a reggae career. I just made this record and I was just trying a thing, and you know, it worked. And next thing I knew, I was getting invitations from France, from Holland, from Germany, and all over Europe to come and do concerts. I didn't know what to do. So what I did, I put together some backing tracks, and the money that they were offering was tempting. And I put together some backing tracks on a Reebok tape and went up to, I think it was Amsterdam. I just went or I was in Stockholm, one of them countries anyway, and did a concert. And the money sweet me. And I said to myself, well, you know, I can do a thing. So, anyway, Chris Blackwell heard about Dreadbeat and Blood, and I guess he must have felt, who does Richard Branson think he is? This is a Jamaica, this is my king, and me run reggae in England. And he sent a fellow called Dennis Morris to talk to me. Dennis Morris was a photographer and in charge of a lot of the artwork at Island Records. And he sent Dennis Morris for me and offered me a deal to make 2 albums. Well, Richard Branson offered me a deal to make 6 albums, and I turned that down and settled for the deal to do 2 records for Island Records, and I did Forces of Victory and Bass Culture. And those albums did so well that Chris Blackwell himself offered me a 6-album deal. And I said to him, no. I turned him down. And you should have seen his face when I said no to him, because, you know, reggae musicians were crawling over each other like crabs in a barrel to get to Chris Blackwell to get these recorded. I didn't see myself as a recording artist. I still wasn't ready, you know, for a career in reggae. So I said, no, I will just settle for 2 albums. And I did 2 albums. And I agreed to do 1 more album for him, and that was, we put out a dub album, LKJ dub, and after Bass Culture, and I did 1 more album for him, which was Making History. At the same time, around that time, I was preaching the doctrine of autonomy. So I said to myself, Johnson, you better practice what you preach. So I established my own record label, LKJ Records. I didn't know anything about the business, but I was learning a lot, and I learned a lot from Dennis Bovell, because he knew the business inside out, and he knew everybody. He knew where you could go and get your labels printed. He knew all the pressing plants. He knew where the distributors were. He knew all the retailers were, and so on. LKJ Records really didn't take off until the end of the 80s, early 90s. But the first record I put out in 1981-82 was a record by Mikey Smith called We Can't Believe It, which was being released here in Jamaica. And on the B side, we had an instrumental, but it was We Can't Believe It and Roots, because I met Mikey and Okwo Nora and Muta Baruka and Gene Winterbridge and all these poets when I came to Jamaica. And I really need to say this. I mean, in 1974, I came to Jamaica before anybody even knew of me as a poet in England. And I was invited on the radio to recite some poems in a program called Poetry Now, produced by a man named Jeremy Verity, hosted by a young lady called Elaine Wint. But, you know, nobody never knew about me in Jamaica, and I didn't really know much about the scene in Jamaica. I think the year after that, when I went back to England, somebody gave me a magazine called Swing, and I came across a poem there by a poet named Muta Baruka. And it was that poem, the ends. What a poem that name Muta. Nursery rhyme. Nursery rhyme, Lamed. And that's where I first came across the name Muta Baruka. But when Mervyn Morris told me about Okonura and Michael Smith, and when I found out about these people, they were students at the Jamaica School of Drama, it gave me a great sense of validity. I felt that what I was doing in England had some validity because people in Jamaica were doing the same kind of thing. And that gave me an enormous amount of confidence. Anyway, I began to get more and more offers for work. So I gave up my job at the Cascade at the end of 1978 and started touring around Europe, just using backing tapes. I didn't have a group in those days. And one of my earliest performances, I was just learning, how to be a performer, a reggae performer. One of my first early performances, was a baptism of fire. And it was at the Rainbow Theatre in London. And I was supporting this guy I got to know through Dennis Morris, who became good friend, a guy named Johnny Rotten, who used to be in a band called the Sex Pistols. And then after the Sex Pistols broke up, he formed a band called Public Image Limited. And he invited me to open for him on 1978. It was Boxing Day, 1978. 2 shows, Boxing Day and the following day. And when I got to the Rainbow, I was stone drunk. And when I went on stage and I saw this ocean of punks dressed in black and with all these funny hairstyles, and I didn't know what to do or what to say. Anyway, the guy who was operating the tape didn't cue it up properly, and cued it about 4 bars in. And when the tune started, I didn't know where to start. Eventually, I got through that show, and then the second night I sobered up, and it was a good show, and I was well received by the punk rockers.